Hey, what's up guys? I'm back today. Today we're going to be talking about how to create 3D emblems in Cinema 4D. So this will pretty much work with your own design, or any design really for that matter. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to be using the Batman logo, and we're going to make a little emblem using that logo, texture it, and do some stuff like that. So another thing I'd like to talk about real quick is I told you guys in my last video, if you watched that I was building a custom gaming PC. All my parts arrived, my case came in, I built the PC, it's working really good, and I ran into a few issues, and I'll have some more information out on that at a later date on the particular build that I did. But anyways, just wanted to kind of give you guys an update on what's going on with that in case you were wondering. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into this tutorial. So the first thing you're going to want to do here is create an emblem, or whatever you want to turn three-dimensional. And like I said, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to be using a Batman logo. But once you have your image off of Google Images or whatever you did, if you designed it yourself, once you have it, you're going to go into Cinema 4D. We're going to change our perspective to any of these really. I'm just going to use the front perspective here. And in this window, in this perspective, I'm going to hit Shift V on the keyboard. And that's going to bring up our viewport options. We're going to go to the back tab, and then where it says image here, we're going to load our image. So this is going to be our reference image. And I've got a lot of crap here right now, but that's it right there. That's the logo. And basically, it'll work right there. We don't have to move it around or do anything like that. And we have a reference image loaded into Cinema 4D. Now, it can get a little bit difficult to read or to see what you're looking at here with the grid. So what I'm going to go do is go up to Filter and go to Grid and disable the grid so that we can kind of see our image better. And the next step here is we're going to create this using a spline. So let's go to the schema, and we're just going to outline, just start clicking and outlining basically the shape of this, of the design that we're using. So in this case, the Batman logo, and keep in mind, using the schema spline in this case, it doesn't have to be exact. So you know, just like that, you can see that it doesn't line up, but we'll fix that in the end, so it's not a big deal. And also, I wanted to say that we only need to do half of this. We don't need to do the whole thing, because we can drop this into a Symmetry object, and it'll look really good. So both sides will be symmetrical. So I'll go ahead and speed this video up. Basically, what we're doing is, what I'm doing right here is just creating a spline around the object like so. I will come back when this is finished, guys. This is basically all I'm doing. As you can see here, it's not too difficult. So I'll come back when this is done. As I just completed outlining this using the spline tool. Now you can tell here it looks pretty rough in a couple areas. Like I said, this doesn't have to be exact, because we can go back here with our live selection tool, and we can actually individually select these points and adjust them if we need to. So I'm just gonna go ahead and touch this up real quick, make it look a little bit better, and we'll be well on our way. So once again, just kind of going through here roughly. Now obviously, if I was actually going to do this for a real project, I would take a little bit more time on this. But for the sake of this tutorial, I don't really need to be too exact. But anyways, we have this little issue right here, where this, using the schema spline tool, it kind of arches up and away from our line there, so it's not really straight. So what we can do to fix that is actually, let's go ahead and go press MK to select our knife tool. And what we'll do is we'll just make a few little cuts inside of here like so in our 3D perspective view, and that should kind of help to straighten this line out a little bit. So we got some more points we can use, and let's just click on these points and let's just drag them down like so. Alright, so that's a lot better, guys. So that is basically, and actually down here I could probably touch this up down here at the bottom because that's not real sharp. So once again, we'll go to M and then K to select our knife tool, and we'll just slice it right there, and that'll give us a lot sharper spline, so it won't be so rounded. So we're just going to drag this over. I'm going to pull this down, pull this over, and then of course do the same with this. And that is looking much better. And so basically our spline's almost done here, guys. That looks pretty good as it is. I'm going to add a couple cuts here in the center here though, just for the sake of it, and that looks pretty good. So that's our spline of our little logo or whatever we're going to be doing here. So it's only halfway done. So like I said, we're going to be using a Symmetry object. So what we're going to do now is go up to this icon here, go to Symmetry, and then drag and drop and make the spline a child of the Symmetry object. So you can see our spline represents the Batman logo basically. So we're going to go up to the HyperNerbs object, and we're going to go to Extrude Nerbs and drag the Symmetry object into Extrude Nerbs. And now there you can see you automatically have a three-dimensional emblem, logo, whatever you want to call it. Now obviously this can be used for several different things, intros, you know, whatever you're doing really. This is just, in my opinion, some good knowledge to have if you're into motion graphics. So that's why I decided to make this tutorial. Now, if we go ahead and give this a quick render preview, it looks kind of cool, but it's not quite done. So what we need to do here is texture it basically. And myself, I'm pretty bad at creating textures, so I'm gonna use a plugin, Texture Kit Pro. I recommend you guys get it too. It's very good. It makes your life a lot easier when you're texturing things, and yeah, because creating really decent, good-looking textures can be very time-consuming, and plus I'm not that skilled at it myself, so I'm using Texture Kit Pro. But anyways, that's our logo. You know, so that's how we did it. We used a spline, used a Symmetry object, and then used Extrude Nerbs to make the design three-dimensional. So hopefully that was pretty straightforward and pretty simple. So anyways, let's go ahead and texture this. This may just give you guys some ideas if you don't have Texture Kit Pro. Of course, you can do this any way you wish. I'm going to go for a more metal kind of look, so let's just try. Some of this is just trial and error, guys. You just have to try certain things. I'm going to try this brushed metal texture here, and obviously we're going to change the projection to something different here. Let's try this. Probably isn't the best one. Cubic maybe. I'm not sure I'm liking that too much. That doesn't really look good for what we're doing, so I'm going to get rid of that. And we're just going to search for a good texture here that I find appealing or that goes good with this. So I bet we would try, let's try this bronze material here. Let's drag this on there, and let's go to cubic. Maybe, not sure that'll look too good. Let's see. Okay, that looks alright. We don't have global illumination in here or anything, so it looks a little rough right now, but once we get that in there, it'll look pretty good. I'm actually going to go ahead and do some overlays, so let's go to, under Texture Kit Pro, let's go to Overlays, and let's just add in some overlays here. So I'm just going to add in some random ones. I'm not sure how they're going to look so far, or look until I get them on there. So let's do this. scratches. Alright, let's go ahead and try a few of these overlays. Let's throw it on here. And the overlay has to be behind or in front of the main texture for it to show up, so keep that in mind. It's very important. I'm going to change the projection from UVW mapping to cubic, and then the offset V, we're going to have to offset this a little bit so it makes a little bit more sense. Let's do this quick render preview, and you can see our texture there already looks, it looks a little bit more metal-like, or resembles more of a metal color, such as bronze. So let's go ahead and try this wet overlay, see what it looks like with that. See if it gives us a different look. It's very subtle, but I can definitely kind of see a difference there. Let's go back to cubic, and this may not look so good, but it doesn't look too bad. Kind of like that. And then let's try this this lichen wall, which is basically like moss. Not sure how this is going to look. It may look pretty weird. I don't know yet. So we're going to try it out. Like I said, guys, a lot of this is just trial and error, just trying things out, seeing what looks best for you. So I don't really like that too much. I think it looks good just like that. What we could do is we could even add in some more scratches. So if we went to this one and drag this right there, and then whoops, right here, and then change that to cubic. Now we've really got a lot, and yeah, then we're getting that harsh line, so it's probably not a good idea to add more than one. That should be adequate. That looks pretty decent. And what we'll do from here is just go to window, or actually go to our render settings here. I keep pressing the wrong stuff. Change the width to HD format, so 1280 by 720. Of course, you can always do 1920 by 1080, but tends to render a little bit faster at a smaller resolution. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this as far as making an animation out of it or just a single image. That's up to you guys, depending on what you're doing. If you're wanting to take your logo and move it into Photoshop and work with it there, you're probably going to want to do a TIF format or a PNG format. And whenever you do this, make sure you check on alpha channel if you don't want a black background. If you just want the object itself to be composited over whatever. PNG and TIFF should work pretty good. Just make sure you have that alpha channel selected. Let's go to anti-aliasing. Let's change that from geometry to best, and then bring the maximum level from 4x4 down to 2x2. Let's go to effect, ambient occlusion. Let's go ahead and give this a quick render preview and see what it looks like with the ambient occlusion on. Okay, so it's a little bit more detailed. Doesn't look too bad. Let's go back into our render settings. Let's go to global illumination. Let's change the diffuse depth to 2 and the gamma to 1.8. And the radiance catch, bring that down to low, and bring this down to low. And how about this time we don't use any grayscale gorilla lighting? Let's just use regular default lights that Cinema 4D comes with. And let's just create a simple lighting setup. And actually, what I think I'm going to do here is create some lighting from scratch. So like I did in my last tutorial, where we created a basic lighting setup. I'm going to be using that method here. So I'm going to drop in a plane, bring the width and the height down to 100 by 100. Go to MoGraph, go to Cloner, drag the plane into the cloner, and let's change the mode from linear to grid array, and change this value right here in the middle to 1, so it's only one layer. And you should see, if we're in the model mode, you should see these little orange dots, and we can just drag these out a little bit and space these out. So you can see we kind of have a simple plane grid set up basically. And what I'm going to do here is let's just go ahead and drop in a camera real quick where it's at, and then we can go ahead and move this camera around and not disturb the other camera. Anyways, let's go ahead and position this a little bit better. Whoops. Gotta grab the cloner. Make sure you have selected the cloner when you do this. And let's check this camera, see what it looks like. Okay. Alright. And let's make sure. And let's go right click on the cloner, go to Cinema 4D tags, go to compositing, and check off scene by camera. So whenever we render this, you won't be able to see it. And also with the cloner selected, let's go to, or actually, one of these is okay, not seen in editor. So we can still see what we're working on here, but we won't actually see the plane, so it won't interfere with our views there. So. And last thing we need to do here is add a material onto our light here. So basically the cloner or the plane object, because that's going to be our light source. Another thing I've never really talked about is if you get a bunch of materials on here that you're not using and they're just taking up space down here in this area, you can go to Function, remove unused materials, and it'll get rid of every material that you're currently not using. So it's kind of a handy little feature. Keep your workflow nice and clean, I guess. Organized. But anyways, I'm just going to double click down here and create a new material, check off color, check off specular, check on luminance, and leave it as that. Take that material, drag it onto the cloner. Let's go ahead and give this a quick render preview and see what we have. So we may need to increase the brightness because that does not look very good. And actually, let's do that and see what happens. Nope. We need to increase the brightness because it's too far away. So I would say do like 200% here. Something you have to play with every once in a while. That still may not be enough. I don't know. Doesn't look like it. Let's bring this in closer. Let's see what happens there. Okay. Not looking too bad. Let's bring it up even a little bit more. Let's go 300%. All right, to me that's looking quite a bit better. Yeah, I think that's looking okay. And let's just go ahead and drag in a couple omnidirectional lights here on the side. So I'm just going to duplicate this light. Control C, Control V, or Command C, Command V if you're on Mac. And let's see what we have here. So you can see there, it's way too bright there. I mean, unless that's the look you're going for, that may work, but I don't know. That actually does look kind of cool. I kind of like that. That looks pretty interesting. So I may actually keep that. Another thing I'd like to talk about real quick is sometimes you may get these kind of, whenever you're creating your spline, the edges may look a little not rounded. They don't look so smooth. So one thing you can do to try to fix that is actually go to the hypernerbs icon, drop in a hypernerbs, and then take this object and make it a child of the hypernerbs. That should help to kind of smooth the edges out a little bit. Of course, sometimes you might get these artifacts in here that don't look real good, but I think for this case it's fine just the way it is. Just another little heads up that you guys might be able to use to your advantage. But as for this, I think this looks pretty cool. Let's see. Let's try it from a different perspective and see what it looks like. Alright, yeah, I really like that. I think that looks pretty cool. Now, this is my opinion. Now, obviously, if like I said, I could composite this in a piece of artwork that I'm working on in Photoshop, or I could use this, make an introduction video with this, or a promo, or whatever the case is. I can make an animation with this, and so those are just some of the different uses you have for creating something like this. But anyways, guys, that's it for this tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something new. If you did, please leave a like usual. And if you have any questions or comments, obviously, feel free to put those down below the video. And I will see you guys later. Thank you for watching this. If you made it this far, peace out.